We are Zone 24/7, an advanced technology and research center established and headquartered in San Jose, California in 2004, specializing in offering end-to-end technology consulting and engineering services encompassing both hardware and software. Our sound research and development background means that we are constantly developing leading-edge technology solutions ahead of market needs. Our ability to meld hardware and software solutions places us among a handful of companies in the world with the ability to do so.
Zone 24/7 has continued to show phenomenal growth since its establishment, which has pushed us to be a pioneer in the IT industry. We work towards our vision of enhancing the emotional experience of everyone we touch, be it our customers or employees who are part of this great organization.
Our global outreach is empowered by local talent. We are the industry leaders when it comes to hardware and software, catering to an array of industries and providing state-of-the-art products and solutions for global customers. Zone 24/7 is led by a tech-savvy leadership focusing on technology innovation, and our direction is shaped by mentorship and guidance. We are an organization with autonomy and empowerment, which brings creativity and innovation to our day-to-day lives.
We have a diverse range of products and solutions being developed under one roof, bringing in major technologies and diverse tech stacks into our work. We are the industry leaders in a multitude of technology domains, including software engineering, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, robotics, embedded systems, and many more. We are also a pioneering leader in software quality assurance and test automation, striving towards making us a center of excellence in software quality assurance. Zone 24/7 has the luxury of a work culture that is collaborative, friendly, caring, and supportive. Both our culture and environment build camaraderie among us.
Our culture has inbuilt learning and development, defining us as a learning organization where knowledge and learning are highly valued. Zone 24/7 is a place where one can learn, grow, and achieve a great career.
We have a mentoring and coaching mechanism to support individual career growth. We follow industry best practices in managing talent and keep a high focus on the potential for growth and personal development.
Your aspirations are important to us. We provide opportunities to create, innovate, and influence our global products and solutions. You will be able to see the results of your work in a global environment and grow in a career aligned with your expectations and potential.
A very good evening. A warm welcome to all of you joining us today for the workshop 2 of our online workshop series, CodeQuest Vault Edition, a thrilling cybersecurity CTF hackathon organized by the IEEE student branch of UCSC. I'm Virginia Mana, a first-year undergraduate at UCSC. I'll be your moderator for this session. Today's workshop is titled Tools Deep Dive. This session is designed to give you a strong understanding about the tools that you can use at the upcoming CTF competitions. It will walk you through the CTF tools and how to use them with practical examples. Before we dive in, here's a little bonus for all of our participants. We have already completed our first workshop, so the participants who have joined us for both of the sessions will receive a valuable e-certificate of participation. So make sure to stick with us until the end. Now, let me introduce our speaker of this session. We are honored to have with us Mr. Ravindu Rajasingha, a passionate cybersecurity enthusiast, currently working as a cybersecurity analyst at Dialog and also as a CTF engineer. He brings both expertise and insight that will surely help you navigate the CTF landscape better. I encourage all of you to make this session an interactive. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat box and let's keep the energy flowing throughout. So, without further delay, let's get started. I would like to warmly welcome Mr. Ravindu Rajasingha to proceed with the session. Over to you, Mr. Ravindu.
Thank you, Vijay. So good evening, everyone. So as part of CodeQuest, I will be taking a deep dive in some essential CTF tools that every hacker or CTF player should know. And these tools are just not for the competition itself. These will be incredibly useful for real-world cybersecurity scenarios as well. But don't hack anything without the permission. So keep it to the CTF itself. So these are the tools that I'll be taking a look at. So we have the network scanner as Nmap and context discovery tools. We will be looking at few different tools, and we will be learning what is web proxy and SQL injection exploitation tools and password cracking tools, and also privilege escalation tools. So this is Nmap. So Nmap is a much needed tool. So when we are starting a boot root CTF. So Nmap is called as network mapper. So this is used to detect if you are getting a network, to check if the host is live, or to check what are the ports and running services. And also it is used to detecting the what is the version or the OS running in that particular IP. So this is also been used to perform vulnerability assessments as well, because it has different scripts. So there are two versions. One is CLI version that is called Nmap, and the other one is called SendMap. So this is how SendMap looks like. So this is basically putting, if you're using Nmap in Windows or something, the GUI version will be good. So I will be taking a look at this, going through each tool with the practical session as well. So I have an IP. So this is the IP that I'm going to use. So this is the private IP. So this is a hosted Ubuntu server that I have created, and it has the CTF. So I will be taking from start to end how you will be going against something like that. So first of all, let's see if we can do a pin check to check if you have written any packets. Please understand if some networks does not allow pin, so you won't get any return if the network has disabled or have some firewall. So we can go ahead with the Nmap. So Nmaps have different flags. So these, if you are using this minus, and these are called flags in most of these Linux-based tools. So in this example, we have different flags. So if you guys can type man in front and the what the tools you are going to use, and it will show the guide. So this will tell what it is and everything. And also we can do help to check it as well. So in here, if you want to do OS detection, we have to use minus O. And in here, if we want for fast mode, it is minus F. So there are a lot of flags that we can use. But for this scenario, I'm going to use a simple flag that is minus SE. So SE is used to do a port scan, and also it runs script as well. And there's another one called SV. So SV does what it does is it basically do a version. It checks for version in the open port. So first I will do without anything, and this is the IP. So in here we get the output as what are the open ports and the state of it and the service. So we have two ports open in this particular host. So one is port 22. This is used for SSH. So if we check the other one, this is port 80, and this one also open. So there are a lot of ports. We can see it checks only the top browser. So all the other ones are closed. So we can now go ahead with this to check what the versions of these services. We can use minus S. So after scan is completed, we can see it now shows more information called versions. So it detects what version of SSH is running, and also the port 80. So we can see here it shows it's running Apache. In the real world scenarios, most of the programs, this particular part is disabled. So you won't be able to know what version it is. But in most of the CTF, we are allowing to show the version because most of the vulnerability is based on an old version. So in this example, we have port 80. So we can go ahead with the port 80 and see what it contains. So if I open up Firefox, and put the IP, this load up the web application. So we can just view the web application, what it has. So we have get started and login and register. So we can try to register a user. So let's do test and email that's also test. just to check. In most of the CTF, you don't have to put a real email, so it just validate, it doesn't check for any validation. So it shows that we have successfully registered. Now we can try to log in. And now we have looked. It looks like a ticketing system. We can add tickets. Let's try one. So what I'm doing right now is just figuring out what the web application is for. You just basically have to get an idea like what are the functions it have and what type of things that we will be working. As you can see here, we are in a directory called dashboard.php. So there might be some other PHP files as well, other directories as well. So our next tool we are going to discuss is dev. So there are a lot of web path scanners. So these web path scanners are used to find other directories that have or some admin panels or APIs as well. So if I take you some search in, so this one first is also something like that, and we have several others. So this is WFuzz, which is also used for web fuzzing, and GoBuster is also another one. So these tools can be used. Everything is in GitHub. Just search the name and you can get these things for your Kali. So in Kali, in default, you get another one called dev. So if you get the web URL and search it, and I'm using the dev, you can also do man for dev and see how we can use it as well. So what I'm doing is using the tool dev and putting the IP. So it's just basically what it's doing is it has this word list. So now it's just checking from a common word list. So it just put request and see what status it is getting. So as you can see here, we get an admin.php. So this web application has an admin panel and the status it's returning is Rio 2. So it has, but it redirects to the login itself. So in here we have another one. So the scan is over, but we can check if we can access this admin. See, it's not letting us in because it's redirecting back to the login page because we don't have admin access. So that's one way to go about it. So now let's go to the other tools. So this is Burp. So Burp Suite is used to basically intercept HTTP requests, and it's also basically just get an idea of what request and response web application does. So what this web suite does is basically if you go to a browser and inspect and go to the development tools, we have a column called network. If you go to networks and do a refresh of the page, it will capture what are the requests it's going from the server to the client and from the client to the server. So as we can see here, we get request to the login page and it just gets some JavaScripts as well. So to make this easy, we can use a tool like Burp. So this is Burp Suite. So when you go to the proxy tab, and we can open the browser itself from here. If you are not using the browser from WebSuite itself, there are some extension for Firefox extensions that is called Proxyfox as well. So we will put the IP and do a search. If I put on intercept on and again refresh, we can capture the GET request. Now we can change something from here and send it to the server itself and get the output from that. So in Burp Professional, there's another one. As from our previous tool, we can do is brute force other directory. So in Website Professional, we have that engagement tool. So that is called context discover content. So if we scan for that, it's basically doing what we did previously. So it just from a word list, it checks all the other directories that it can find. So it's just basically doing a set. See, we've already found the admin.php likewise. So when you're getting something like this, you will be getting stuck. So what I'm supposed to do now? You get a login page, but you know there's an admin page, but you can't access it. So what we can do is again try to access the admin page itself. And see the response. See, there's an admin page, but we don't have permission. So it redirects the admin page to the login itself. So maybe there's something in here. So we can try admin common password and try. So we can send this request to a repeater. What repeater does is it just basically we can send the same request over and over and see, and by changing different things we can check the response. So let me send this. Here we can render it and see what happens. So it says that the username and the password is invalid. So we can try something else like change the password to password.123 and send that, and that's an also invalid. So what we can do is we can also brute force the password like this. But in most of the modern web application, it will lock the account for 5 minutes, or there might have an OTP as well. So from here, we can also check if it is vulnerable for something else, like SQL injection. So most login page or register page, if they have backend SQL and it's not configured properly, it will be vulnerable. So what we can do here is right click and send to intercept. So from here, we can try going to the username, and I just highlighted it and click on add. Now we can select payloads from here. So they have different ones. Let me find SQL injection. In here we have that, and we can start the attack. So if I take one and check, so this sends different SQL injection payloads, and we can also see the response as well. So from here, let me try to find something useful. If we are getting any response different, so here we got a different response. So might be vulnerable. We are not sure yet. So you just have to just try to break this application. If it displays an error, you might have done something that it's not supposed to be doing. That's why it gives us an error. So further exploiting this, we can do something like this. So let's go to the next tool. So this is SQL map. So SQL map is used to automate the SQL injection detection process, and it's also used to from the exploiting any SQL injection vulnerability. And this tool is so powerful that you are able to dump database or bypass login pages or even get access to the full backend as well. So let's go back to the Kali machine. So we can put as SQL map and -s to find the help page. And here are all the flags that it uses. So if you need to retrieve everything, you can do -all or -a. And if you need to jump passwords, you can do minus, double minus and passwords and like that. So we are checking the login page. So to do that, we can do -u. And I already have previously checked this, so that's why it's there. So what it does is, let me just go. So I gave the login page, which is this, using the -u, and we have data. So if we go back to the burp code, you can see here, these are the data that we are sending. So we have username and password. So we are giving that to here. And what is this minus batch supposed to do is it just do the process automatically. So it just, when they are asking for user information, it will just say yes and continue. And from here, we are doing DBS. So let's see what is DBS. So it eroded the DBS database. So we are getting what type of database we can access. So let's try it and see if this works. So let's break down what it does. So it found that the post request, we are sending the post request, and it's vulnerable for a time-based blind SQL injection attack. And it tried, it identified what is the backend DB. So it identified as MySQL, and these are the available database. So there are 3 databases. So these are just default databases. Sometimes you will be able to get some information from that as well. But this is the database that we are mostly focused on. So we know the database name is devboard. So we can go back to the same command and use a different flag. This one is -D, and put the DB database that we want, and let's do tables. So this will dump all the tables from the database. So here we got 2 tables from the database. Now what we can do is, we know what are the tables. So we can do -T and users, and now dump the columns. If you don't need to dump, if you need to dump the whole everything, we can do -dump. This will dump everything from inside that user table. So here it does something interesting. So it do a dictionary-based attack. So let me just run this. So it identifies several hashes. So it does automatically do a dictionary-based attack as well. So if we go to the other tools that we are supposed to talk about, so this is what we are using for parser tracking. So there are two things that is mainly in the industry. So one is Hashcat and Clone the Reaper. So there are other tools as well. So we can use these tools to track the hash as well. But let me go back to the MySQL SQL map. So and do a default dictionary attack and see. So here we can see it tracked one parser. So we had a user called admin and the password is admin123. And there's another user that is test user and test contributor. So test. This is the user that we created earlier using the registration process. Now we can just try to see if we can log in as admin. So the password was admin123. So now it says it found the request, but it's not redirecting to the login itself. It's now redirecting to dashboard. So if we know the password, we can forward that to the browser itself and check. And we are logged in as admin. And we have another column in here called admin panel. We can access all the data that all the other users have as well. Let me end this SQL map process and let me show what. So this is the user database. So it has the email address and the username and also the hash. So in here it has different hashes and we can check using what we call hashcat to find the hash. One more thing, so there's another tool called hash finder, hash identifier. So this will be used to identify what the hash type is. So if I put this hash, copy this, so it's not found. Let me try another one. We are not getting the full hash from here. So one is over here. Let me run that again so you can see that better. Okay, now we can see that better. So let's get a hash. So these are the possibility hashes. So it is possible that this is MD5. So why we need to know what hash type it is because when you are using a tool like hashcat, you have to specify which hash we are using. So if I take the help of hashcat, so in here, you can see different hashes. So these are different hashes. So we have to specify which hash we are supposed to use. So we know that it is MD5. So another way we can go about this is go to ChatGPT and just say hashcat how and we can paste the hash and we can mention that this is MD5. let's see what we are supposed to get in. So it specify we can use like this. So now it's easy to use. You don't have to remember anything. Just go to ChatGPT and ask what you need, then he will provide all the commands. So we can try this using ProcQ as well. I can initiate that and leave it, and we have the admin credential, so we can go to that and check what we can do with the admin panel itself. So this is the admin panel. So previously it has had the ticket one, so now we have admin, so we can try what the admin has to offer. So we have a new tab called export tickets, and we can edit these and we can delete. Let me turn on the intercept and do something like test. And we will send this to the repeater and check the response. So seems like we are getting a DB dump when we do that. Now we can again check if we can exploit this using MySQL. If there's any SQL vulnerabilities or if there's something else. So we can add this and put the SQL and check this. We can check the response and see. We are getting an error now. It says command output 2. Let's check another one. This says command output 6. So we can try to check if it is vulnerable to SQL as well. But when you see the word command, it just have to ping that this might be vulnerable for any remote code execution. So let's try that. So the same thing. What I'm doing now is removing this, make idle pages, and put a new list. Let's check. Maybe temporary injections or path traversals. Let's try that. So basically, if you don't have access to Burp Suite, there are other tools that we can use. So this is Kaido. This is ongoing new trend to replace Burp Suite. So you can use this as well. So this is also web proxy as a tool. And we have also have another tool called SAP proxy. This is also in Kali. This is SAP proxy. You can use that as well. Or like specific things like SQL injection check. So we use like SQL map. So for like that, there are different tools. We can just say command inject or RCE and just say GitHub and tool. If you search like this, you'll probably get some lot of GitHub like automated tools. So this is some tool like that. It's basically just go about in GitHub and search different things and check if it is working for you. So in CTF, just try everything that you can. If it can break the system, that's fine. That's why CTF is created. Just don't try anything in the real world because if critical system got crashed, that will be another issue. So like that, we can check different things. So For this example, I know this is workable for an RCE. So this is how the RCE is supposed to go. So if I put a semicolon and do IT and send the request, we're getting the output of that request. So what it does is it just execute this. So if I go back to my Kali, if I type I, it will show the permission and what's the user. Or easy one is who am I. So in my Kali, if I type who am I, it shows the username as Kali. So if we go back to Burp and do who am I here and see the output, it says that the user is www/data. That means we have remote code execution in this server. So when you get in a remote code execution like this, what we can do is get a reverse shell. So if we go back to Google and like search reverse shell, so this tool is used to generate payload at right reverse shell. So in here we have the IP and port. So let's fill this and get it. So we know I can get the IP from here. And the port. Oh, this IP is for the listener. So we need to get the IP from our Kali. So I can do ifconfig or I can do IP and address and get the IP from there. And I'm going to use the port 443 for this. So it gives the payload itself from here. And it also gives the command for the listener. So we can run this in our Kali and create a listener. So we are now listening in this port 444. And we can run these commands and see if we can get an reverse shell. Let's go back to our burp and run it. Now nothing happened. So one or two things happen. Because we are putting different parameters in here, it's not URL encoded. So what we can do is highlight everything from here and go and encode this whole thing in URL encode. Now this is URL encode and you can send and see. So nothing happened, but we can go to our listener and see if we can get something. But we did not. So we have to try something else. Let's try another one. What about this? I'll paste that. And URL encode this as well. And send the request. Let's go back to our listener. And now we got something. We can again do who am I in here. See, it's showing as the www data. So we have got the reverse shell. Now we can do is check what we can access. So this is the web application backend. So we have access to the web application backend itself. So we can do several things from here. check the configuration files. We can do cat and check the configuration files. And here we have inside the configuration file, we have the database username and the database password. So we can access the database from here using that credential as well. And in here, there's another flag. And we can see if we can access any other users. If we go to the home directory, we can see there's another user called Dev. So let's try to access Dev. But we don't have permission to access Dev. So the next step would be that we got the initial access. This is called food hall in a CTF. So after getting initial access, the next step is to escalate for a user. So in this case, we have to get the dev user. And also we can check the root. So we can't go to the root itself as well because we don't have permission. If I do ID, in here we see the ID is treated. So that's why we don't have permission. So a normal user gets like 101 or 100 and the root has 0. So the end goal is us to get more permission for this user. So back to the tools. So this is another tool called Linpiece. So there are 3 versions. One is for Mac as well, but I have not mentioned that. So Linpiece and WinPiece. So Linpiece is used for Linux and WinPiece is used for Windows. So what are these? These are basically scripts that search for any misconfiguration or weak permissions, or it just basically do a vulnerability assessment inside the server itself. You have to get remote access to run this. So as we have remote access now, what we can do is use Linpiece. To use Linpiece, we can go to their official repository. So this is Linpiece, and in there we have a curl command. So sometimes the curl command won't work because the system does not have curl. Then what we have to do is manually download this and upload to the reverse shell itself. But in this case, we can just basically use the curl command, and inside there we can run it. Just one command, and it will just download and start running. So this is Linpiece. So if something is in red and highlighted in yellow, that is pretty sure that is something we can use to privilege escalate. So it just scans everything and see what permission it has, or if there's any misconfiguration or some file that the user does not supposed to have access to, likewise. In here, in red, what we're supposed to look for is in red. But sometimes just keep on mind that some things, it's like a similar thing like if it's just a temp file, it does not mention it in red, but maybe there's something interested in that temp file as well. So in here, it suggests few different things that we can use to privilege script. So we can just copy this and Google and see if it works or not. So likewise, we can get a detailed information. I'm going to stop this. as you can see here, it just exits the reverse shell as well. So let me just go back to burp and get the reverse shell again. Did I crash my web application? Let me check. Hope not. This is why you have to be careful when you are running scripts from online. So probably it has crashed the server itself. Okay, let me just reboot the server and get back. So till that is going on, one important thing that when you are playing CTF, you have to take note. So there are a lot of tools that you can use. So one is Notion. So this is on, it's in the cloud, so you can just create a free account and sign up. And this you can use to take note. And just don't put anything in a. It's easy to put something in the notepad. Even I'm doing that, but it's better to have something like this. Or there's another tool called Obsidian. So this is Obsidian Note. And so this is Obsidian Note. So interesting thing about Obsidian Note is you can have this. You can just create write-ups like this, and you can just have the commands. So it will be easy to copy and paste, and you can add screenshot. So when you are doing the CTF, just record everything. Just do a basic nmap scan and just put the important details in text like that. So when you're doing something like this, you will fall into lot of rabbit holes. So you don't know when you're getting stuck or not. So you have to have notes so you can go back to those notes and see what you have missed or something like that. So this is just a basic example. You can just have notes like that. So let's just check back on the server. Hope it's live now. Okay, we are not getting anything back from this. Oh, what is the other? The host is there. we can also see the ports are open. So why it's not loading? Let's try this again. Oh, we got the reverse shell, so we can proceed from there. Okay, we have the reverse shell. So another way to check permission is you can do basically you are supposed to get root, right? So if we go back to my Kali, so I know the password of the root in here. So if I do sudo and sudo and it asks for the password. So I know the password of this, so I can get the root access from here. But I don't know the password of this. So in here, we get the root access. If I do ID, see the permission is 0. That is what we are supposed to do. So if I do sudo su, it just basically just corrupt because we have taken the reverse shell, so it's the terminal is not required to read password. So that's why it does not allow us to enter password itself. But also we can do to check if we have any root or sudo permission, we can do sudo -l, and we got something interesting from here. It's basically saying that we have root access without any password to this. That is Python. So what we can do is we know this information. So there's a web application called CTF for beans. So this is basically used for privilege escalation. If there's any misconfiguration, you can just type. For an example, in our use case, we need to find out if there's any misconfiguration in Python. So let's search that. So when we search Python, we get, I can click on it. So if it is a shell, we can do this to get root access. Likewise. So what we have is we have sudo function for Python. So we can click on sudo. So you can see here, it will bring for this column. So we can just basically do sudo and Python and get the root access using this command. So we can try that. Seems like nothing happened, but let me try who am I. It says root. So now if I do IT, it says that we are root. Now we can access the root directory itself. Now we can read the root flag. And also as we are root, we can also access the users. So we can go to dev and read the user flag as well. So in this machine, there's two ways to go about it. So one is to get the foothold and escalate to root. But to get the user, what we have to do is crack the hash that we found earlier. And when you crack that hash, you can get the SSH credential for dev. So if I go back and dump all the database back again, so as you can see here, we have a user called dev. And when we are inside the server, there's a user called dev. So most of the CTF, if you get access like this for MySQL, the password might be same. So we can get this hash. We can use hashcat for John for this as well. But as everything is built with web application, we can also use a web application called hashapps.com, or another one is TrackStation. So if you put your hash in here and tell I'm the robot and check if we can crack the hash. So it immediately identify it as MD5 and crack the password. So the password is developer 2. So now we can basically SSH to the server itself using the password. Now we are inside the server as dev. We can read the user flag as well. So that's another way to go about it as well. So that's it. So we were able to get the root access and from this CTF. So if you guys have any question, you can ping me from using LinkedIn. So thank you. Back to the organizing committee.
Thank you, Mr. Ravindu. If you have any questions to ask from Mr. Ravindu, this is the time for it. Please feel free to ask any question about the session. You can drop your questions in the chat box or in the delegate group.
So for a full prone challenge, what you can do is basically what I did today. You can start using Nmap and identify what are the vulnerable ports that it might be and go from there. So most of the full prone challenges, it has a web application, most of them. So what you can do is identify the web application. So it just basically it might have different subdomains. So you have to probably do a subdomain brute force itself and check if there's any other web application running in one server. Yeah, you can't hack any website without permission. That is why CTF is created. So you can use platforms like Try Hack Me or Hack the Box or participate in CodeQuest CTF itself. I hope everyone just to go and go to Try Hack Me and just register, and they have tutorials on how to do everything. So that will be a beginner level. So start from Try Hack Me, and you can go to Hack the Box itself. Yeah, you can use Metasploit to exploit if it is a vulnerable version. When you are using Metasploit, it is basically getting its information from uh, a site called ExploitDB. So if the vulnerability is inside ExploitDB, you can use Metasploit to exploit. I got a question. Can you suggest some video tutorials? For the video tutorials, you can just go to TryHackMe. They have a lot of videos in there, in different, and they just teach from the beginning to end. Get the knowledge from TryHackMe, and you get familiar how to use this tool in a lab environment. So that will be great. So I got another question. It is IDO or burp suit is more user friendly. For that's just the preference. So if you start using IDO, you will be familiar with that. So I am familiar with burp suit. That's why I'm mostly using burp suit. Uh, Other alternative for burp suit is Kaido. So another question I got is there any work opportunity in Sri Lanka for cybersecurity? There are a lot of in cybersecurity, but the case is you have to find which field you need to go. So in cybersecurity, you have a lot of different sites to go. So mainly if you are into CTF, you can go to Red TV. And there's another field called defense, that is SOC. You can go to that. Or if you're more into governance side, there's another field you can go as governor. So just identify which field you want to go and get some hands-on training, and there's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, Buster you can use in CTF. Yeah, you can try all of these using a virtual machine itself. Another question is, when doing scan, will the firewall block us? Definitely. If it is a live machine, if it is a real world scenario, the firewall will definitely block your IP. But in a CTF, it does not block. I haven't found any CTF that blocks the IP. So in CTF, you don't have to worry about that. But in the real world, if you just do a nmap scan, it will block the IP if it is strongly configured. Yeah, that's the preference. I'm using Kali, but you can use anything. The tools are multifunctional. Even Windows, you can use in Windows as well. Any other questions from anyone? So I got another question. So is it possible for newbies to try bug bounty? So that's the interesting question. So bug bounty is like a lifestyle. So if you are into that, you can try it, but certainly just get the experience from plain CTF because it's not like plain CTF and bug bounty is completely different. You have to understand the business functionality of that web application and try to bypass that. In a CTF, you know it's vulnerable. So you are going knowing that it is vulnerable. So you have to just find a possible way to how to hack into it. Bug bounty is different, but you can try it. But better to get hands-on experience playing CTF. So another question is how to overcome if the IP is getting blocked, right? So you can use proxy chain is something else. What you can do is you can use the VPN and route the IP. Like if one IP got blocked, you can use another IP. So that's the technique. Or what you can do is slow your scan. So don't do aggressive scan at once, but do a slow scan. Another question is what is the best way to perform a port scan? Sorry, port forwarding. Yeah, NGROC also you can use, but there's a new tool. Let me search that up. I will get to that port forwarding question. Another question is how safe is tunnel VPN? And so tunnel VPN is if you are using the Tor network to tunnel, uh, I can't say if it is safe or not because it depends on what you are using, but don't do anything illegal. That's what I have to say. Another question is what are the best snipping tools? Snipping is what? I'm not quite sure about that. You mean like packet snipping? You can use Wireshark for that. Okay, so about that port forwarding, you can let me share the screen. No, I will share something. So it's called localhost run. So this can be used for port forward. how to begin a CTF, how to choose to try first. So in most of the CTF, if you are not playing alone, you are playing with the team. Identify which part you are mostly strong at. So in a CTF, there's different scenarios. Like sometimes it's forensic based, or it's a full prone, like what we discussed today, or it's web based, something like that. So if you have like 4 members, just identify which part that you are mostly strong at and go about that. Most important thing is if you found something in an, like if you get an example as web application, if one member found that there's an admin panel, share with the team. So somebody else might know how to exploit it. Any other question?
I hope that's the end of the questions and everyone got the answers. Thank you so much, Mr. Ravindu Rajasingha, for that insightful and practical session. I'm sure everyone here learned something new and feel a lot more confident about diving into CTF competitions. Here are some announcements that you will find very important. This competition is open to all cybersecurity enthusiastic undergraduates in Sri Lanka, and you will definitely wouldn't want to miss it. The registrations for CodeQuest Vault Edition are not yet opened. It will be starting soon. All right, everyone, it's finally time for the big reveal. We are beyond thrilled to announce the official launch of our very own website. This isn't just any site, it's your one stop hub for everything happening in this event series. From updates to resources and more, it's all there. But here's the most important part. The registrations for the initial round will be done exclusively through this site. While the registration window isn't open just yet, the site is ready for you. The delegates booklet is already available for download in the site. So go ahead, scan the QR code on the screen, explore the site, and stay tuned. We are thrilled to announce the key milestones of our upcoming event series. Mark your calendars, here's what's coming up. The initial round, which will be held online, and then the announcements of the finalists. Then the final hackathon, which will last for 8 hours physically. Then we'll wrap things up with a award ceremony. Now, a quick heads up about the registrations. Each team must be consisted of 3 to 4 members. A team should have a team name and a team leader assigned. Only the team leader should fill out the registration form and the required details of the team members. All participants must be undergraduates, and a team should contain members from the same university. Each participant can only represent one team. Participants are not allowed to change teams after the registration. Now, let's take a moment to acknowledge our sponsors. Our gold sponsor, Spera Labs. Thank you for your valuable support. Silver sponsor, Zone 24/7. We're honored to have you backing us well. Associate sponsor, Hyvian. Your support is appreciated as well. Before we wrap things up, let's take a virtual photo. Everyone, please turn on your cameras. Let's capture the end of our amazing workshop 2 together. You will see the virtual background in the chat box as well. So at the count of 1, 2, 3, we will take the photo. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Thank you, everyone. We would love to hear your feedback as well. Please scan the QR code in the screen and share your thoughts with us. And that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you once again to our speaker, to all of the participants, and to the organizing team behind the scenes. This is the end of the online workshop 2 of CodeQuest Vault Edition, organized by IEEE Student Branch of UCSC. Until next time, stay safe. Thank you and good night.